Arsenal are a club in transition. How many times have you heard this statement? Ever since the Gunners moved to the Emirates from Highbury all those years ago, the team has lost its spark. And yes, there have been a few FA Cup triumphs along the way, and the North London club is no longer the team that used to compete for top honours. At Highbury, Arsenal became one of the true power horses of English football. Under the guidance of Arsene Wenger, the Gunners had a great rivalry with Man United and won a fair bit of league titles along the way. However, the current Arsenal is truly a shadow of its former self. Once Wenger left, Unai Emery was made the club's manager. The Spaniard won the Europa League a few times and was understandably considered one of the finest managers in the game. Sadly though, the former Paris Saint-Germain manager paid for the club's misadventures and was eventually fired. He was replaced by Mikel Arteta, who was seen as the club's answer to Pep Guardiola, under whom he learned his trade as the assistant coach at the Etihad. Being a former player at the Emirates, Arteta knows what it means to be a Gunner, and his appointment was cheered by the club's fans. Even Guardiola credited Arteta for City's success in the league. Many thought that Arsenal had finally found a manager who would guide the team back to its glory days. Before registering wins over Chelsea and Brighton, Arsenal were on a run of no wins since November 1st. The last time they won a game was a 1-0 win over Man United, who've now turned a corner and are flirting with the notion of being genuine title contenders. During that drab run, the Gunners suffered 5 defeats and 2 draws and never really looked like a team capable of finishing inside the top 4, let alone challenge the likes of City and Liverpool for the league title. Following a 4-1 thumping at the hands of Man City in the Carabao Cup quarter-final, it became clear that Arsenal are threatening with a relegation fight. Arsenal and relegation at the same time does sound weird, but in reality, that's kind of what it's come to. While the manager does insist that the challenges at the club are far bigger than simply coaching the team, the former captain is determined to oversee a complete revamp of every department of the club. Under technical director Edu, Arsenal are going through some serious upheaval. Head of football Raul Sanllehi was given his marching orders in August and a lot of scouts were laid off. Today it's Arteta and Edu who have complete control on the sporting side of things. While this definitely can be seen as a good thing for the manager, it also comes with added pressure. Both men have to make it count, and it's Arteta, being the manager, who would be facing most of the flack for anything that goes wrong. Since Arsene Wenger left North London back in 2018, Arsenal have reshuffled their board 4 times. There's no stability or clarity of vision either, so forgive us for being pessimistic about the club's chances of crawling its way out of its current predicament. Naturally, Arteta has decided not to say anything about the team's survival in the Premier League. It's clear that the team is in big trouble. Their wretched form was arrested somewhat in the win over Chelsea, but then again, they played a side that's also underperforming. A win over Brighton was a welcome one too, but the team is in no terms out of the woods yet. At the time of writing, they're about to have a game with West Brom, and this could be a huge indicator of how they're going to perform in the future. This month, they're also set to play against Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Southampton, and then Manchester United. None of these games are going to be easy, and with the way they've been performing, it wouldn't be surprising to see the Gunners struggle. February wouldn't be any easier too, with games against Wolves, Aston Villa, Leeds United, Manchester City, and Leicester on the cards. This month in February will be really difficult for the club, and in the midst of that, they also have a 2-legged round of 32 game against Benfica, who's never an easy side to tame. Every time you look at Arsenal's fixture list, you do get a feeling of doom. None of the games are going to be easy, and with an underperforming team, people would definitely be thinking about a relegation dogfight. Of course, the team has a lot of talent to avoid such a fate, but then again, talent alone can only carry you so far. So are Arsenal going to eventually pull the trigger? To be honest, we don't see Arteta coming out of this all unscathed. The Gunners have some tough games on the horizon, and most of their opponents have already proven their credentials. The statistics of Premier League sackings also paint a grim picture. Since 2012, at least 6 managers have lost their job every year, and in the last 3 years, the number has risen to 9. And although the current financial climate does work in a manager's favour in terms of greater longevity, clubs will make their move once they know for sure that the current man in charge is not good enough. Patience never lasts forever in this game, and failure to meet targets consigns managers to redundancy. Slaven Bilic has already paid the price, and there are 2 managers who are bookmakers' favourites to get the sack. Sheffield United were the story of the season last term, but the Blades have regressed sharply this time around. Chris Wilder has been unable to turn his team's fortunes around, and it's only a matter of time before he's shown the door. Sheffield are close to being relegated, and the club's ownership would like to see them at least go down fighting, rather than whimper their way back down to the Championship. Arteta, for winning the FA Cup, still has some credit left in the tank, but the Spaniard is the second favourite to be sacked. After navigating a tricky festive period, the Spanish tactician has more work ahead of him. Unai Emery was sacked when Arsenal were in 10th place. Arteta's side are 13th in the league standings, and it's been reported that players no longer have faith in their manager. Senior members of the squad don't feel that Arteta would be able to dig them out of the hole they're in. While youngsters such as Bukayo Saka have benefited from him, Arteta cannot rely on inexperienced performers to guide the team higher up the table. In the coming weeks, there would be talk of men who could replace Arteta, and we thought, let's stay ahead of the curve and look at a few options that are out there. RB Leipzig's Julian Nagelsmann has done an amazing job at the club. They might be the most hated team in Germany, but Leipzig have mounted a serious assault on the league title. Bayern Munich are not going to be an easy foe to vanquish, but Nagelsmann has done his reputation no harm by encouraging the club to dream. They also vanquished Man United in the Champions League, and when on song are a real treat to watch. Arsenal would definitely be watching the German from afar, and might, or should, jump at the opportunity to bring him to London. Thomas Tuchel is another candidate who might help Arsenal become more consistent. The former PSG manager is as demanding as they come and might make this team tactically less naive. He prefers a game-by-game approach, something you don't see under Arteta, so maybe the former Borussia Dortmund manager is the answer. If you want stability and titles, Massimiliano Allegri is a great option. The Italian spent 5 years at Juve and won 5 league titles. The only criticism levelled at him was that he was unable to translate the team's domestic form to Europe. But then again, winning the Champions League is never easy. He has proof of success and would want the team to aim for the stars. However, Allegri would also want sufficient funds to assemble a squad that's capable of at least threatening the top 4. His teams are always well drilled and adapt to different situations very well. Allegri isn't a big fan of a front 3 like Arteta is, but his formations always guarantee more defensive assuredness. Patrick Vieira was a legend at Arsenal during his heyday, and now that the Frenchman's time at OGC Nice has come to an end, he is available. While he might not have a shiny CV or anything, Vieira's management style is perhaps what is needed at the Emirates. There are definitely a lot of managerial options out there for Arsenal. However, the fact is that the team has been underperforming regardless of who comes in. Under Emery there was structure, and he actually did well in his first season. Arteta showed that he can be a good manager, but it's all fallen apart so far this season. If you were to ask us, it made no sense to banish Mesut Ozil.
He's very important for the team. He's been missed while he's been injured.
The German may have his issues, but on his day, he can be a world beater. Yes, those days won't come every week, but Arsenal really could have done with his presence in the middle of the park. The former Real Madrid man has that something special about him, and Arteta should have seen him as a wild card. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has struggled for form since signing a new deal, while Gabriel Magalhaes is too young to be trusted on a regular basis. At present, the core of the Arsenal team has the right amount of experience and youth, but what it lacks is consistency. Arteta simply hasn't been able to get the best out of his players. Edu might have brought him over, but you can bet that the Brazilian is not going to continue supporting his manager if his team continues to fail or implodes on the pitch. At the end of the day, he will decide to move swiftly for another option rather than risk his own skin. And it's not that it hasn't happened before.